Today we are putting an anti-foulant on the rudder.
It started dumping, pouring rain. Michael had a really rough night. She threw up all night.
Last week we installed a new drivetrain. Thanks to your feedback, we know it needs further attention. While waiting on tools, we're tackling the next project. Months ago, we dropped the rudder to do a thorough inspection, and now she's ready to prep for reinstallation.
These are the tales of Moab.
Our neighbor John, who gave us the battery charger, just stopped by. He gave us the 404 high density. All we had left was the 407, so we were just chopping up Matt and trying to use that, but it wasn't looking great.
Leaves are falling down, but at least they grow back. While I'm on a one-way track. Now I know what it means to grow old.
I'm preparing for a little bit of a battle here. It's mostly going to be hand sanding so we don't compromise this curved edge here. We've got the rudder all sealed up. Now we just need to prepare it for paint. So I'm just roughing up all of this hardened epoxy that we've applied. Today we're applying our epoxy barrier coat to the rudder and the skeg. We've got an Americoat 240 epoxy primer. What we're about to do is measure, mix, and then start painting. It's 4-to-1. This is our cup for the resin, this is our cup for the hardener, and this is what we're going to pour it into. Time to mix the cure.
Any concerns?
My brush is losing a couple hairs, so obviously it's not the best brush in the world. But overall,
What made you want to go with the brush instead of the roller?
we just have like some holes here, like kind of air pockets, I guess. You can kind of see the little indentations, and I feel like the brush does a really good job of getting into those imperfections.
It's been 2 hours since the first coat was applied and Michael is back at her again. How's it going?
It's going really well. I feel like I should apologize. No, not apologize, just acknowledge the fact that I was a little overly stressed out starting with that first coat. I am frustrated that we used that roller and left some hairs in the paint, because that was something that we were warned about, something that we knew to check for, and that just kind of brain farted. So I'm just using the brush and that's going well. I feel like the second coat is going on a lot smoother. We're not using nearly as much material. How's the bike coming?
Really good. Really good. We've replaced the front shocks, the back shocks. The sprocket was stripped when we got back. That was the first issue. So we've replaced this little piece here. We were missing bolts. This snapped off. So there's some little rubber pieces inside of here that we replaced. The chain snapped. That was not too bad. And now this morning we woke up and the back brakes were locked up and I couldn't go anywhere. And so it'd take that whole system apart, and that was a whole. That thing was hanging together by threads, literally, like floss, tooth floss. So we're good now. I'm just gonna throw everything back together, and I think she should run for another day, hopefully. We just got to the boat, ready to do some work, and realized we need some acetone. This is why having the bike is awesome, because now I can hop on it, zip there and zip back. Otherwise, it would have been about a 45-minute delay.
Today we are putting an anti-foulant on the rudder. We've got our barrier coat done, and I've just gone through and roughed up that barrier coat, preparing it for the paint adhesion with a 60 grit paper, acetone wash, and it should be ready to go.
Stuff is pretty pungent. Why did you switch to the roller?
Oh, it's just way more effective for doing a big area. I'll definitely use the brush on the edges.
Maybe you're wondering, what the heck? What are you doing, Joel? Looks like Michael's doing all the work. Well, mostly I'm the camera guy. Also, I'm here for emergencies, and we're not really in a huge rush. Paint takes a while to dry. It's just the rudder and the skeg. Michael actually enjoys this. Do you need anything?
Maybe a kiss. So we just left the casa. We went back for an hour to take a shower and a nap. For me, I was feeling so tired and drained for whatever reason. I don't know. It's not like it's any hotter than normal, but after putting that first coat of paint on, I was just wiped. So it's pretty awesome that we can do that. Now we're heading back within the recoat window to put on our second coat of paint. How are you feeling, Joel?
Great, ready to slap some more paint on the rudder. Almost called it a keel again. Look at this bike, she's performing magnificently. Alright, obviously I already had it off and had to stage it, but we now have a gently used thick 5-ply hose for sale if anybody wants one. Just shoot us a message or, you know, shoot us a comment. We'll give you a pretty good deal on this baby. Hey, Michael's back. How did the second coat go?
Went on super thick. I think that's just what happens when you use a brush. I feel good about it. It went on like pretty easy, like pretty smooth, you know, it rolled out well. But there's no doubt about when you put it on with a brush, it goes on thicker than it does with a roller. So, you know, I'd say it went well.
Oh, ooh, what happened there?
Gross.
Ooh, it's actually looking a lot better.
Joel's having some second thoughts about the fact that we're replacing this here, what do you call it? It's the hose for the...
It's a 5-ply stuffing box hose. I think the packing gland hose.
This one might even be 6-ply. It's
6-ply. That's what I'm saying. So it's a little cracked on the outside, but this thing was thick. This is on there. If you look at the inside, I just think this is another one of those things that we took on that didn't really have to be done for a long time. I mean, it's gonna be better than it was, but I think this probably would have lasted like 30 more years.
I disagree. This might not come as a surprise, but I'm more of the preventative maintenance champion here. And I think the fact that we dropped the rudder means that we should replace this. And we're not gonna have to drop the rudder for a long ass time because we're gonna have a brand new hose in there that we can be competent in.
What are you noticing here?
Well, there's a lot of metal in this paint, so it's super concentrated. Even though we had it sitting upside down, trying to encourage it to pre-mix already, it's just got like a lot of sediment down in the bottom, which is why it's so important to give it a really good mix.
Hey, just finished the third layer of anti-fouling on this side of the rudder, so tomorrow we flip it over and do the other side and do the skeg. And then we should be ready to install the rudder. We are going to add a whole nother coat of the red stuff to the boat. 2 possibly, I think we have enough for 2. And then we're gonna apply 2 more coats of this blue stuff. So the blue stuff is gonna be the final look.
Yeah, right before we splash.
Yeah. At about 11 o'clock last night, after we applied our last coat of anti-fouling, it started dumping, pouring rain. So that was about 4 hours after we applied the last coat.
I would say it's definitely been affected. Like when you look really close, you can see marks of where the rain hit it. Like it came down so hard it actually left a splatter pattern on the paint itself. And like when I barely touch it, it like accepts my fingerprint. Like that really changes our plans. We were planning on painting the other side today, but in order to paint the other side, we have to tip it over and rest it on that other side.
Okay, whose hair is that? Michael? Got all this black hair stuck in here. Come on. Takeaway of the morning. Use the tarp to ensure the dryness of your new paint job, especially when you have one in the boat. Michael just finished up the last coat on the skeg. She put it a little bit thinner this time, so tomorrow we'll come back and we'll see the difference between the skeg and the rudder. Hopefully we're going to be able to flip the rudder tomorrow and finish that, and then we should be ready to install that baby. Hola, mi amigos. Today it is just me. Michael had a really rough night. She threw up all night. I actually went through the same thing about 2 days ago. I mean, it was in the middle of the night. I didn't sleep all night, so I think it was a 24-hour bug maybe. So I've come to finish the job. Having a partner in crime makes things so much easier. Something as simple as moving the rudder was a little tougher by myself, and I flipped it over on the other. I just kind of flipped it over like Michael and I would have done. And I believe if it had been 7 days to even 14 days, where the weight of the rudder rested, I think this would have happened. But Michael's not going to stand for this. That's where it was resting, and then I kind of moved it a bit. And up here.
Now I know what it means to grow old. Yeah, now I
And done with the first layer.
the time I got, it is just enough to get by. Yeah, it is just.
And coat 2 is done. I will see you in 3 more hours to apply the 3rd coat, the blue coat. Things are going pretty smooth. And the 3rd and final layer is complete. Tried to patch up my little mess there. It's a little goopy. But should play. Michael and I just got back to the boat. She's seeing my handiwork. How did I do, babes? I know you're pretty particular.
No, I think you did a really nice job.
Seriously?
Honestly. Yeah.
You like it?
Mm-hmm.
These are the tales of Moab.
Over here. Over here.
Come on, Willie. Pay attention. Focus.
Moab! Lola dipped.
How come you're so quiet?